Okay, everybody, the much awaited round 5 recap. Sorry for the lull in recaps. We had a good pace going. We were getting about a turn done a day, but both of us had very busy schedules in the middle of the week, which prevented us from pushing forward here. This recap does end with the Empire of China. The Republic of China has not gone yet. There was a discrepancy on my part. I made a mistake. He had one extra unit in Hubei, so Hubei's actually contested. So he still has to do his Republic of China turn, but I'll cover that in a bit. So just to recap what happened here. Gosh, it feels like so long ago. The revolution happened. So round 5, the revolution happened. The Russian Empire was not able to stave it off, which was pretty self-evident by round 2 that this was going to be an early revolution game because of the big naval buys in the Black Sea. So I was not able to stave it off. I did get a very lucky roll in eastern Ukraine, where I knocked out a bunch of his units the last round, and then he contested it, which by him contesting this, and had I gotten one more hit, it wouldn't have been contested with his counterattack. I would have been able to spread out into Crimea, Volga, western Ukraine, and possibly staved off the revolution for another round. So, but the Russian Civil War has begun. So the Soviets are on the move and the whites are on the move. Soviets began with a very aggressive opener, took everything out of Ingria that they could and hit Archangel, took everything out of Moscow they could, hit Kazan. They hit Urals with everything from Siberia, Tatarstan, Kazakhstan, contested that as well, and then took everything from Primorye and hit Amur and contested that. So lots of aggressive movement. In return, the whites also with aggressive movement, taking Urals back, contesting Kazan. Sorry, the Soviets took Kazan. Sorry. Now the whites contested Kazan. I did activate one Mongolian territory, so the Soviets and the whites can activate the Mongolian territories, but the whites are more readily available over there to do so, so they have that little advantage. And then the Japanese and some Americans landed in Primorye. The Soviets had left the territory wide open. If the Soviets leave a territory open that they control, that's when the Allies can attack them. So if they had left one infantry behind, I would not be able to do it. So what else? So yeah, I think the Soviets will have this one. I don't think the Allies will be able to supply enough in time to make this a competitive Russian Civil War. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. As long as I'm on this side of the board, I'm kind of going out of turn here. But the China point, he's like I said, he still has to go. Very likely that the Republic of China wins this. I did get a good amount of hits on Hubei. It looked pretty hopeless last round, but he's likely to take Hubei and Zhejiang, possibly, or one or the other. But technically, I do have more territories in my control right now, but I don't think that's going to last. Getting over here to the correct turn order, Austria-Hungary finally bit the bullet and went into Veneto. So the standoff between Dalmatia and Veneto has ended. The Austro-Hungarians have plowed in. I didn't bother to try to do a dogfight with my fighters because he has me outnumbered 2-1 on fighters. So I was just like, you know what? He's going to get air supremacy anyway. I don't want to give him an ace. He only had 6 artillery anyway. So if he had more artillery coming in, I would want to bring these fighters into the battle because then I could possibly chip away at his air supremacy advantage that he would give his total amount of artillery. So even with my trench works there, he came in and blasted through. So the Italians backed out into Tuscany, left one guy behind to keep it contested. And now they're in a ground game against Austria-Hungary, who's now a powerhouse, making in the upper 40s in income. But I did send a French contingent down here to Provence. I do have American and British that can come from Portugal, potentially, and Italian builds feeding Tuscany. So I don't think he's going to get Rome unless he goes absolutely 100% for it, which then he would. He did build some Navy as well. He built a cruiser and a sub, and then more trucks and ground units. So Austria-Hungary has set its sights with full attention on Italy, which is not fun. But I think they're going to have to pull at least half of their attention over this way to the southeast for the Ottomans, because the Ottomans are getting beat up pretty bad. The Americans have already made a landing on round 5 in southern Anatolia. There's Italians in there. I will be moving the British in there most likely from Palestine. France swung a transport around and took Mesopotamia, which allowed the British units in West India to rail into Mesopotamia, as well as the units they had in Armenia and Persia. So, and the British built another tank over here in West India. So got some tanks going on. So yeah, lots of pressure happening on the Ottomans. They were convoyed, I believe, for 12 last round, and it only collected $6. So they have $6 to spend this next round, which, yeah, I think Austria-Hungary is going to have to help them pretty soon to hold Constantinople over the long run. Getting up to Germany, though, because I got a little sidetracked. Germany is pulling its Far East reinforcements back towards the east, so it's got a bunch of trucks and cavalry ready to tow units into Saxony and Rhine province next round, which that's going to be fun as the Allies to deal with that swing there. Germany built, I believe, 3 fighters last round, so there's definitely an air supremacy race going on here. The Allies have a total of 9 fighters in Belgium, but Germany has 8. And the advantage really is for Germany in that sense, because the Allies will not be able to make an attack unless it's a 1-2 punch. So France, if say France wanted to go first and attack Germany, they only have 5 fighters to use against the 8. So there is a disadvantage in terms of attack, but in terms of defense, the Allies have a slight advantage there. But not for long. With those reinforcements coming and the income that Germany's making, it won't be for long. France did make an attack into Alsace, though. So France took its units from Lorraine plus its air force and hit Alsace and contested it. Didn't get a lot of hits. What else for Germany? Germany swung its fleet back as well. That's about it for Germany. Over here in the southeast of Africa, they moved those 2 remaining cruisers that they had to Season 46 to try and harass the British transport. But the British and Japanese coalesced over here into this sea zone, so they're pretty well protected. And the British fleet is over in Sea Zone 41 now, so it's going to be pretty soon. Pretty soon, those German cruisers are going to be dead or cornered. What else we got here? British just kept funneling units over into Belgium. They brought 2 units over from Canada, built another transport out of London. The Americans activated Portugal because America is now in the war. They've declared war. It's round 5. They activated Portugal for the British, activated Brazil and Cuba. So America is going. They got some Navy in the Med already. Like I mentioned before, transports offloaded already in the Ottoman Empire. Down here in Africa, what's going on? The British are kind of cornered here in South Africa. Germany is really throwing everything it's got right now. It's got 2 machine gunners, although it can't have 2 of the same tech in one territory. So he'd have to leave a machine gunner behind if he were to make this attack. But he's got a lot surrounding over here in German, Southwest Africa, and Rhodesia to make a hit on South Africa. But I don't think he's going to get it. I don't think he'll have enough in time if I keep building there to take it. So, although Africa is a mess for the Allies, Germany does control a lot of territory. So, it's quite a quagmire. The Italians sent a guy down from Cairo to take Darfur. 2 Frenchies took Cameroon. So there's some things the Allies are doing here, but it's not a lot. Getting back over to Ottoman land here. The British just reinforced Palestine, some of their other units there. What else? Yeah, I'm trying to think what else happened here. The Italians took Hejaz, obviously. And then Japan, basically, like I already kind of covered them. They're just taking the German colonies that they can while also sending some units up into Russia. So they're kind of spreading themselves a little thin, but we'll see what happens. So that's round 5 in a nutshell. America's in the war. Everybody's in the war, except for the Russian Empire, which is dead. But there's now a civil war happening in Russia. I think the China point will end up going to the Central Powers, as well as the fate of Russia point, which is basically the Russian Civil War. Favorable trade currently is with the Allies. I'm sorry, I did not get the score chips updated up here. I didn't do that yet. I want to do that pretty soon. Maybe I'll just do a separate video for it. But it's turning out to be, I think this is going to be a very close game. I think the Central Powers have the edge right now, just slightly, because they have the Balkans. They already have the revolution point. Germany and Austria-Hungary can spend pretty much all their attention on the Allies now in the West. except for maybe a little bit for the Ottomans. So I think they have the edge right now, and China likely falling in their favor too. The Allies are going to have to pick up a lot of ground to save this game. That's what I feel. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.